Hey everybody, again, it's Valor Swanson here. Welcome to CX in the Cloud. Today we're going to be talking about the next step in our 5-part series about customer service differentiated. And today's show is your contact center subconscious made conscious. AI as your CX shrink, but we're going to be politically correct here and make sure we say psychiatrist. So we're going to talk about how in the world AI is going to be your CX psychiatrist. But before we do that, of course, we always review the previous show's 3 takeaways. And again, today we have Andy Bird joining us here in a bit. But let's talk about the 3 takeaways. So last time we talked about the real-time means immediate results as it relates to getting information from the AI being able to do the analysis of what's happening in those calls. And the agent assist and agent coaching. So the point of that is your ability to support the human aspect of your contact center with assisting and coaching them. And not only does it assist and coach the agents, but it's also assisting and coaching your team leaders on where they need to focus. And of course, the management team as to where the team leaders need to focus and all the way up the chain. And so this is really important because your ability to completely ascertain what's happening across the entire agent base versus that 3% that we all try to get to, that that holy grail of 3% quality monitoring, let alone the feedback to that agent base. And again, this is important. It's not the ability to do for you to do less. As I said before, you might think the AI is now going to do all the coaching and all the monitoring and the quality feedback. But no, it's allowing you to do a lot more at a deeper level and with more precision that you normally wouldn't have had if you were to keep doing the manual version of it. Now, so let's set the scene today for the CX psychiatrist. I think that's a pretty funny title, but we're gonna get to it. So you gotta stay with me here, right? So your contact center has a conscious. Now think about that. The collective minds of your contact center actually is a bunch of minds that are happening, that are the whole thought process and interactions that are occurring, all happening at one time in any given moment in your contact center. And so there's 3 parts to that. There's the minds of the agents. There's the collective interaction between the agent and the customer and what's happening in that communication, the consciousness that's occurring there. And then the consciousness of your customers, what's going on in their heads. Now, I wouldn't be, I think, incorrect to say that obviously, if you have a conscious, you obviously have a subconscious. So if your contact center has a conscious in those 3 respects, then there's a subconscious happening with that. And as you know, you typically go to a psychotherapist or a counselor or a guru or, I don't know, you might do some therapy, some meditation. But the point here is how do you extract the power of your subconscious so that you can become a better person, so that you can focus on the right things, so you know what to improve. So you know what to enhance, so forth and so on. So we're gonna take this step, and extrapolate, take this concept and extrapolate it out with the reality that you can use AI as your customer experience psychiatrist. So how do we do that? What are you talking about, Valor? So what we're talking about here is sentiment analysis and keyword finding. Now, sentiment analysis, sentiment, it's a very soft, mushy, abstract kind of thing. Like, what is the sentiment? What's the flavor? What's this, what does this conversation smell like as it relates to, is it good or bad? And more importantly, how can I act upon these findings? So sentiment analysis can provide you a very holistic view of what's occurring in your contact centers and as it relates to what the customer, your agents, are thinking, and more importantly, what they're feeling, because the customer will base their long-term relationship with how you make them feel. So again, some factoids. I'm always trying to throw some factoids at you guys, kind of make this stuff stick for all you, hard-nosed number guys out there. But basically, a customer with, a poor experience, you only have a 43% chance of retaining them. And I'm going to show you something really cool graph here a little bit later that demonstrates the power of sentiment analysis, power of having that CX shrink, that CX psychiatrist to help you with making sure that doesn't happen. And this is a very important one, and it's from April 2013, and I don't think anything's changed. 90% of customers that are worth their salt, that will actually research, who they should be doing business with, will actually make a decision based on reviews. Okay, I thought this company was good. I thought that company was bad. And so I'm going to go with that company that's good. So they're taking the time to tell you their sentiment after the fact, after the experience. So there's a little chart here. I just want to remind you guys what's important. So quickly, we're going to just, get you guys to see here that customers, they will actually want fast response time here in the graphic. And they want consistency across channels. And they want knowledgeable staff. And they want consistent messaging. And they want a person to speak with, not to speak with. Okay, so how do we make sure that we're still following this as our North Star as it relates to addressing customer experience in the cloud? So back to sentiment analysis, and I'm gonna have Andy come in and join us, our favorite buddy here, Mr. Andy.
Hey Valor, how are you, man?
Doing good. Always good to have you. I don't know why you always bring a smile to my face when you join us here, Andy. I don't know why.
I don't know why. It's probably because I'm silly to look at. Probably that could be it.
That's right. No, why am I saying that's right? No, that's not right.
It's all good. I take it either way. It works.
Okay, so Andy, I'm going to rattle off a few, points here, and chime in, and then we'll go into the how, because that's where you excel in helping people understand some of these very complex technologies, and mashing them up with my way of kind of making it, the concept kind of, something that you can identify with. So basically, sentiment analysis allows brands to stay on top of their consumers' opinions. It can extract, discover, and analyze data to provide very valuable insight that you really couldn't do with other automated tools. And on the surface, some of these other tools that you might be using that we've talked about in the past, yeah, they're good, but sentiment analysis is going to go way, way deeper into data and the structure of that data and analyzing that data, presenting that data in a manner you can act upon it. And you promised me you would explain this later, right?
Yeah. Well, do you want to? I mean, we could talk, because when you say sentiment analysis, I'm not sure everybody's grasping and going, because here we are. Last week we had an angel on your shoulder. This week we're working with a shrink. I mean, they're going, wow, what's going on here? And really, you're concise, and I love the way you bring these ideas to an informative level. But let's talk about sentiment analysis. Sentiment analysis is a couple of components that occur when we interact. We're all human beings. When you and I interact, there is a sentiment that goes on there. You said that when I first jumped on, it makes you smile. And that might be because I have a silly face. It might be something that I've said in the past that is recollective. There's all kinds of reasons. When we do this in a contact center, we can get fun with it. And here's what I mean. I can tie words together that mean something. So that was good, right? That's a simple one. That was good. If I tie those words together, then I am knowing that I'm getting a cheerful response from the caller, right? So I'm tying those words together. So I use word amalgamations to make sure that I'm doing or that I get the right sentiment. But I can also do voice inflection. Yeah. So when you say something with a different tone, when you say yeah or yeah, I know that there's a difference between those two. Yeah. And I can measure that voice inflection. Then the AI can go, hey, he likes you, right? This is a good call. You did a good job here. And now the supervisor can extrapolate what was done good and what was done bad on those calls. And even more so today, the intelligence gets to do that. And then they can coach the agent. The intelligence can just say, hey, by the way, Valor, you did a great job on that call yesterday. Here's the highlighted points. Make sure that you do this, and this again. Yes. Right? Whatever those items might be.
Yes, absolutely.
Did I go too far too fast?
Oh, no, that's fine. That was a wonderful appetizer.
Okay, cool. All right.
So guys, real quick, let's kind of get everybody back in, where we are with and on our journey here of our 4-part. I made a mistake. It's not 5 parts. Well, maybe I'll have to come up with something else, but 4-part journey. So here, guys, on the slide here, just to remind everybody, we talked about the pre-interaction using a conversational AI and virtual agent. We've talked about during the actual conversation, transcription and agent assist, and the associated coaching that can occur with that. And now we've got, the shrink the brain, the psychiatrist here above, making your agents the lovable people that they are, using the sentiment analysis keyword find. And then next week, we're going to talk about using AI for intelligent routing. And that's some real clever stuff that's going to be coming up. So, Andy, just so that you can get all scientific, now get deep, take us to the deep end of the pool, as I always say. The next little graphic here, is maybe where you can kick off to try to get people like me that don't understand it like you to understand it. So what do you think about this, Andy? What's going on here?
I really liked your diagram here because, first of all, this shows a flow of where everything's going. So, there's this whole idea where I want to transcribe what's going on in the call, right? That's important. But that's important not just for the transcription, because we want that, because that saves after call work, as we discussed last week.
Yes.
And that's important, and that saves the agent time, right? Because we're about making agents' lives better as well as making their customers' lives better. So I get that with the after call work. So I get that transcription. But now when I have that transcription, now we go back to something that I said in the appetizer portion, as you would call it. And that is, what groupings of words matter? What groupings of words? If I say good and then the product, now do those grouping of words matter? And does that give me a higher score or lower score? If I say a negative thing, if I make a pejorative comment, that could be something as well. Ooh.
Yes.
Okay, cool. You paused for a second. You froze. So I wasn't sure if it was my internet or your internet. So I'm glad that we're back. So getting transcription is huge insofar as now I can get more from it. But I also want to hear that tone of voice too. Tone means everything. If my kids come home from school and I go, "Hey guys, how was your day?" And they're looking at me like, "Dad, are you awake? Are you alive?" type of thing.
Yes.
I go, "Hey guys, how was your day?" And they
immediately
infer that I've had a good day. A, I'm in a good mood. B, and C, I care. Right?
Yeah.
Those things all get inflected, and that is where we get some of these other benefits too.
Yes. So with the rise in importance of voice of the customer.
Yeah.
So the contact center data, it's really, there's so much data and so many conversations going on and opportunities to, it's like a gold mine. It's a diamond mine of information. And the way you kind of took us through the analysis bit with the diagram there, we're tapping into all that, aren't we? Like we're nothing's being left untouched to tap into. It's not like we're looking for the gold. The gold's there. It's what are we going to do with it?
Right. We're mining it, and then we're deciding how to refine it. And this aspect, and I love the fact that you just used a gold reference there, because in this aspect of AI, this is really the refinement of it. So we know where it is. We kind of know where to mine it now, right? That's during the call. And now we know what to mine. And then this is the refinery, because now I'm going to pass it back. I'm going to do something with it. I'm going to be able to make a purchase now of some sort of behavior. I'm buying behavior at this point in time. And, we call it a shrink, but this is where I get to work with the agent and make their lives, again, better, and make their experience with the customer better.
Right.
And this is huge. Their value to this. How much does it cost? Everybody knows this, but the cost to acquire a new customer versus the cost to retain an existing customer is massive. It's usually 3 to 1, right? So if not worse. And so the idea is we want to retain those customers. I was talking to a call center the other day. You'll love this. And we're chatting, and they were telling me their whole entire MO, the way that they work their floor, is to stay on the phone as long as possible with customers.
Okay, interesting.
Retail environment, and the reason is they find that it makes them sticky. It makes those customers valuable, because when the customers call in to talk, even though they just might be wanting to return an item, they really just want to talk, especially right now during the pandemic. So their customer retention rate has gone through the roof since they've implemented this.
Right.
Now, that doesn't work for everybody. Sometimes we've got to get through the calls, and we've got to get to the next one. If you're the DMV, right, I want to get to the next call. We really don't want to be talking about my driving habits, right? We want to get through the process. Yeah. But that's why each contact center, this is to your point about the shrink, this is a good point of inflection for them to go, these are the types of calls I'm getting. These are the types of things that are said on these calls. What big mission statement can we do to transform us a little bit better, like this retail company that I was just describing? And that's a big deal. So we want to look at each one of those aspects and then create that mission objective. And then we use these recordings to continue to refine it.
Yeah. Yep. Sorry about that alarm there.
Hopefully somebody's okay. That's all that matters. It does seem like the London police, though.
It does. It is London police. So, okay. So you got a situation here where you're saying they realize that talking on the phones longer created an outcome, which was that we're retaining the customers, right?
That's right.
So that's on the surface, that is like a huge kind of like, wow, that's, that makes sense. But with the sentiment analysis, you can actually drill down into what is happening in that talk that's making those customers feel good. In fact, which customers what was happening in that talk, and using the inverse for the customers that did not stay, so that you can propagate the good stuff across the guys that might not be speaking like the rest of the agents that are causing the customer to retain, causing us to retain those customers. So there's opportunity for upselling, cross-selling, understand the negative feedback, the positive feedback. And I think what's really important here is that you're understanding the ingredients as they're being baked, as the conversation is happening, versus tasting it afterwards. So you have an opportunity to change the flavor of what's happening with your customers as it's happening versus after the fact of a survey and trying to address things post-mortem, so to speak. So there's a little slide here, just, the why. Why should we be doing this? And, it's all about the money, guys. Sometimes we can say that. And this particular, this is a carrier that had a churn issue. And they actually showed here their average churn compared to the industry. So they put in a sentiment analysis to understand what was happening with their customers and how to address things, how to fix processes, what were they complaining about, what were they saying was great, what were the agents saying, and inflection, and all these soft things that are just a multi-dimensional multitude of information that you can tap into now and provide it to you in an organized way, as Andy was showing in the slide earlier. But so it started off at, the industry average of 2.4% churn. And as the year progressed, they went all the way down to 1.25, 1.3% churn. And guys, normally we math here on this, each one, your contact centers out there that are looking at us, you have different value for your customers. And Andy, what was that percentage you said of the cost of retaining a customer?
It's usually it's at least 3 to 1. Sometimes it's much, much higher. It's scary, 10 to 1 for some industries. And, you point out some really, really good stuff there. By the way, I would say that, yes, this is a financial thing for your contact center, but financial, they're not, everybody thinks that they're mutually exclusive. Good customer service and financial viability, right, being efficient as possible, are completely exclusive of one another. If you've ever read Simon Sinek or seen some of that stuff, I would say that they're merged. The higher value you bring for your client, the higher value you're going to get financially too. It just actually comes, and this isn't some magic mystical thing. It is simply, I build brand loyalty, I build good customer experience, and people come back and they spend money because they're comfortable spending money with me.
Exactly. Now, guys, this is not like if we try to talk to you about AI and, AI as your psychiatrist maybe 10 years ago, maybe you've been using a calculator and spreadsheet to try to figure something out, or the fact that you would have been reacting to the results of something versus the input of something. But I want you guys to think about this. Here's some food for thought. So the latest surveys show that the customers' needs are changing. They're wanting things. For example, I can never say that word.
Millennials.
There you go. Every time I'm supposed to say it, you say, because I'll mess it up and say something crazy
That's
here.
what I'm here for, buddy. You can't say in the UK.
Exactly. Oh, that's right. That's right. It's my accent. It's my UK accent that's screwing me up, isn't it?
UK accent.
So 65% of customers expect customer service to be faster than 5 years ago. And we showed that in the graph. Okay. I'm cross-referencing these things to make sure that some of these graphs I show you are 100% accurate. 41% of millennials want more options for customer service. And what are those options? Why? Not just, they want more, but why? And the sentiment analysis addresses this. And 48% of these guys are more likely to look ways to solve problems on their own. Now, think about it. Some customers might call in and say, I had this problem, but I just, I got it all sorted out. I got it fixed. And well, the agent might say, well, what did you do? Oh, I did this and I did that. So your customers might even be providing you ideas on how to improve your processes that you wouldn't even thought of. So the takeaway here, guys, is that there's a subconscious. Your contact center is conscious, and there's a subconscious behind it that you can tap into now with the way the data is gathered, structured, analyzed, and presented. so that you can do something, just like a psychiatrist can prescribe you medicine so that it addresses how your behavior might change. Now, we're not talking about giving medicine to your agents, but we're talking about giving them good, sound opportunities to improve themselves.
We're not talking about prescribed medicine, right?
Yes.
It's good.
We're not talking about spiking the Kool-Aid.
That's right. We're not spiking the Kool-Aid here. I just watched. Yeah. Anyway.
All right. So guys, so the 3 takeaways here. Your contact center is conscious. It literally is conscious. And therefore, there's a way to tap into that subconscious. And we're suggesting here, I'm not even suggesting, we know we can do this, is to use AI as the way to dive into that subconscious and leverage the information that's in there. And the second one here is AI is that psychotherapist that unlocks it. And like I said, that prescribes the program that you need to improve your CX strategy. And then finally, the use of AI in the cloud, right, is a lot easier. And it can, like before, you start to get some immediate results because we're not talking about after the fact. You don't want to find out after something's happened, after these customers are churning out, after these customers are going somewhere else to buy things in order to fix it. Because at that time, that point is too late. And, you guys, Andy here, he's been on our show multiple times. And, Andy, I'm sure you'll agree, we're here to show you this stuff in reality. This is not just talk. We're not talking about, just stats. We're talking about a true tool, a tool here that's true that you can use today. And you don't have to wait until next year or 5 years from now. It's here now and it's available now for you to be able to infuse it into your contact center platform and get all these benefits that you've seen here that we've talked about. So those are 3 takeaways. Andy, any closing thoughts?
No, I loved what you said about churn. Let's not let churn dictate it. Let's get ahead of the churn. I mean, that's really what we're after right now, is helping our customers and our audience make sure that they get ahead of the churn and start looking at this stuff early. So appreciate what you do, Valor. Thank you very much for having me, bud.
No problem. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. We're going to be talking about intelligent routing. And again, thanks for watching CX in the Cloud. Take care.